professional boxer out of Brooklyn, New York. Thank you for joining me on the Sunday Sit Down series.
Hey!
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. We're going to share your story and learn about you today, inside and outside of the boxing ring. There's so much you have to share with us, and I look forward to hearing your story. So, Melissa, if you could start off where you were born and talk to me about your childhood.
Well, I was born in Long Island, New York, and my childhood, like everybody else has had up and downs, but more bad. I grew up in an abusive household. It was very traumatizing. Even to this day, I'm still dealing with trauma from everything that's been going on, and it was more bad than good. There were some good times. The good times was that I was able to travel the world early with my mom. I already been to places like Paris, Hawaii, the Bahamas at an early age. So way before boxing, I was already traveling, and so that was one of the good parts. And the bad parts was just getting neglected, abused, mistreated. It was sad because I was a little kid and I didn't understand why all this was happening, because I was actually a good kid, very active, but I was a good kid.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that you had to go through that. I can only imagine some of the things that have transpired in your life at an early age. And as you're going through these tough times, were you involved in other sports? Were there family members around that you interacted with? How was kind of your social life growing up?
Oh man, there wasn't no family. My mother was like Debo. Nobody was messing with her. They was like, leave Carol's kids alone. Don't tell her how to raise them. Don't tell her nothing. So it was just me, my brother, and my mom, my three sisters and my brother. They already left the house. So I was the only one left because I was the youngest. So I caught the tail end of everything. And, I was a young kid, so I couldn't understand why, things was happening. I know my mom and my dad didn't have the best relationship, but I just wanted to know, what did I have to do with anything? Because as a kid, you didn't ask to come here, So
right.
I would always try to be on my P's and my Q's. My mother, the good thing is she always kept me active. I was in tap, ballet, jazz, track team, double dutch. I played the piano. So my mother definitely kept me active. So that's a plus right there. So anytime I had to leave the house and go to any practice, that was, a good time for me, because I was able to escape the darkness going on in the house.
Wow. And it's, as the world, we live in such a crazy world at these times, the sense of belonging, I think, and it sounds like at least you were able to escape some of that darkness and go and get involved in other things in the community, which I think is vitally important to any child growing up, especially in today's age. We have so many kids that are locked in, whether it's video games or just sitting in the house, especially with the pandemic, not being able to get out of some of those dark times. So it's
right. And oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
And I think about those kids, especially with this pandemic going on, and it just brings me back. Like, you don't know what's going on in the house. A lot of people, when they leave the house, they put a face on, like everything is good, And I know that that's not the case, because I remember in first grade, I came to school with bruises on me, and the teacher, I pulled my sleeve up, forgot that I had got beaten up the day before I came to school by my parents, and the teacher saw my arm and she asked me what happened. I lied. I said I fell off the tree. I fell off a bike. So she saw like, okay, something's not making sense here. So she sent me to the guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor asked me what happened. And at first I didn't tell her. Then I told her. I said, please promise that you won't call my mom and tell her that I was here. She said, I promise. that day I went home and ACS was in the kitchen. When I saw those people in the kitchen, my heart fell out of my chest. My mom gave it that look like, yeah, wait until they go. And I got it. Wow. When I went back to school and the teachers would ask, so is everything going okay, Melissa? I had to lie, I'm like, yes, everything is good. My parents, they don't hit me no more. Thank you so much. Lying all the way through junior high school.
Wow. Is there a point when this is going on that you say, you know what, I'm going to defend myself? Was that ever a thought?
Yes. This is actually right before I got sent to Haiti. I came home and my mom, she put hands on me because I didn't come right home. I get out of school, it was junior high. I get out like 2:30, and I came home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The only reason why I came home at that time because before I left to go to school, my parents threatened me. They said, you don't come right back home, you know, you're gonna get it. And I was scared because I wasn't getting like, you know, regular beatings. I was catching like, I was getting
hands, literally, yeah.
I was catching hands. I was getting thrown out the steps, so I had anxiety. You know, I had really bad anxiety. So when I got home, my mother, she went and she slapped me. I seen colors that never even existed, and then for that first time, I defended myself. And I would never. I love even with everything that my mother does. I love her. I love my parents. But that I felt like it wasn't me that day. I guess I had enough. I said enough is enough. And then she called my father downstairs, and then they both jumped me.
Wow.
Tried to run me over with the car. I ran out the house. Everything just escalated from there. Next day, I was on American Airlines, right to Haiti.
Wow. So you go through this horrible experience in your own home at that, and the next day you're being sent to another country.
Yeah, and I was told I was going to Haiti for 3 days. It was spring break. I never forget. I was told I was going to go there for 3 days to go visit my cousins and my aunt that I adored so much. So I was already just happy, you know, that I could just go escape. And next thing, 3 days past, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Next thing, I'm in a group home in Haiti, not even with family.
Wow. So you're sent over to Haiti. Now, you know, you're thinking you're going to stay with your family for a short period of time, and now you're in a group home. Talk to me about that.
Not knowing when I went there, and my mom brought me to the group home because my brother was there before me. So I was thinking she was just going to go say hi to the lady. And I'm like, okay, we're going to go say hi to the lady. And while my mom's talking to the lady in the kitchen, I see my mom leaving. And I'm right behind her. She's like, where you going? Oh, I'm coming with you. No, you're staying here. From there, everything changed. Melissa left the building already. The innocent Melissa, you know, just a good girl, like, she left the building. Like, I didn't even know what to think. I just, like, you lied to me. How you leaving me here? I couldn't understand, like, wow. I just was stuck.
And how old were you at this time?
At that time, I was 7, I think that was in 96. I think I was 14 or 15, I think.
So for most kids, would have been freshmen in high school, getting ready to go, you know, to school, and you're being, you're being or finishing up their freshman year. You're getting dropped off at a group home in Haiti.
Yes.
Going into the summer of what would have been the end of your freshman year of high school.
Yes.
Wow.
No. I would have been going into high school. I was just finishing. I'd have been finishing junior high. Wow. Yeah. So it was when I came, and then after I did my time, when I came back to America, I came back a different person.
And
Because
how
even
long?
when I was there for a whole year, and then she sent for me to come back because I got kicked out the group home for fighting. I was angry. Ever since I said when she left, I was a whole different person.
Essentially, you became a whole new person, and it took something from your soul at that point. It sounds like.
Oh yes, because even when I was a child living in the house, I always said when I leave this house, nobody is gonna put hands on me. Nobody's gonna hurt me. Like it's not going down. Because I was fighting in elementary school. Like I was fighting way before boxing. These hands was already flying.
Now, I read somewhere recently an article in the Haitian Times. You named one of your fists George. Is that correct?
Whatever.
I had
That
read an
name was
article that it said in when they translated it that you had welcomed someone to George in the translation of the article.
It's like, popcorn judge. My popcorn judge. It's like a saying, like,
So that's a Haitian term.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was trying to understand that. And I thought, well,
Yeah.
I've heard of fighters naming their fist, you know.
No, I wasn't naming my fist, but it's just like a saying, like, you gonna, don't make me get you, like,
Yeah.
conjure.
Interesting. Yeah. So from you going through all of this at a young age, you come back to the States, you're a different person now. How do you get involved with boxing? Like, where does this go? How did
Well, my father was never, he never really was there, So when I came back, my mom, she left Long Island, and that's where she moved upstate, and I didn't even know that either. I'm thinking we going back to Long Island, and we going upstate. I didn't know nothing past Albany. I'm seeing Catskills, I'm seeing Utica, I'm seeing like, where are we? My relationship with my mom was just a typical Haitian woman. She wanted me to be a nurse. She, everything. I do everything she said. She didn't care about my opinion or what I wanted to do or nothing. You do what I say and that's it. I don't care what you think. I don't care about your dreams. I don't care about nothing. You're going to find a job. You're going to get married. You're going to have kids. You're going to work a 9 to 5 and that's your life. That's it. That was it. So the relationship with my mom, it never was good. I always say my mother gave me she provided a roof over my head, fed me, but my mother, no, because not everybody can, be a mother. Any woman can sit there and get pregnant, but the big job is how you guide your child,
And earning the title. I think that's what you're really focusing on. We have to earn those titles in life. And sometimes, I think people, they assume that it's just given. No, you have to earn it.
Right. And it's just the relationship just was bad with my mom, I'm like that girl that used to put hands on that, I'm not that girl no more. So she went from calling the cops on me all the time. She met a new guy. She's trying to push her husband on me. It just was bad. It was bad. I had track meets when when I went to North Syracuse, I was on a track team. I think we had 1 million track meets. We were Section 3 champions. I think my mom came to one meet, so support is something I never had either. I'm a 2-time All-American, Section 3 champions out. I had my room flooded with medals, trophies, and it always would hurt because, after the track meets, I would always see like my friends' parents on the stands, like, yeah, let's go. And I would really be looking for my mom, and that, and that affected me now. I got people come to me like right now, 2020, like, Chick, when you gonna fight? And it's still, it really means a lot to me because I'm like, wow, you want to see me? You want to see me fight? Because I'm just so used to people not being there, not having the support or having people take advantage of me. I never had somebody protect me, or that love. I didn't have I didn't have a dad. I didn't have my mom. I mean, they're physically here, but they wasn't, there. You get what I'm saying? They were here, totally. But they wasn't. It was.
Yeah, and I understand that. And being that you've now taken the pedestal that you have and are now making a difference in the lives of other people. We're going to talk more about that in a little while. So as you're continuing to do well in sports, you're now in Western New York, which some people call Canada. I'm actually a Rochester, New York native, so I'm familiar with, upstate and what's past Albany and considered upstate. And you learned, like, what is this place? A lot of people don't know. Home of the Buffalo Bills, by the way. Shout out to them. They're doing pretty well. And people know Niagara Falls or Canada, and that's all they know. So what a small world, though. Let's put this in perspective. You went to Cicero North Syracuse High School?
Yeah.
And you graduated from there?
Yes.
Okay. Put this in perspective. Carmelo Anthony donated the basketball court in the neighborhood where Team La Perla boxing and MMA exist today. I saw that you were having an adventure in Puerto Rico. I'm from Rochester, New York. You grew up in Western New York. You're a professional fighter. There's a lot of irony in all of this. And you're also making a difference in your community. And really, I don't want to get ahead of myself, so we'll circle back because we're going to talk about you're an ambassador for autism, and I want to talk to you more, like I said, about that in a little while. But you graduate high school. Did boxing come into play at that point?
Yes, because I was an angry, misunderstood teenager. My mother was kicking me out the house. I had no guidance. I didn't care about nothing. I did pretty much what I wanted. Like, the only thing that kept me, in track was being on a track team. My track coach, my teammates on the team, because if your grades are not good in school, if you don't have good attendance, you can't be on the team.
Right.
So my coach was like my second parent. My friends' parents were like my mothers, They're like, just making sure, like, I'm staying in line, my work, my grades is up to par, and just keeping me going because my mother wasn't.
Yeah, a lot of self-motivation was needed on your part, which shares, to this day, why you are where you are.
Yes, and I don't want to, the feeling of that emptiness inside, it hurts, and I don't want to see other young girls or, just young children go through that because it sucks.
Definitely. And I commend you for where you are today. A lot of people in your situation would have thought, they were a failure in life or accepted what the position they were in and stopped moving forward. And I think a lot of times the message is we're all going to fail at something. How do we adjust to it? Because we're all going to fail at something, like I said, unfortunately. That's just the way of the world, and that's life. Melissa, as I continue to learn, about your story inside and outside of the ring, what was your first introduction to boxing?
You know what? What got me into boxing was my abusive childhood. I didn't know nothing else. I was like an abused puppy coming up. They just, they're just like afraid of people. They don't really know, because I feel like if that wasn't going on with my life growing up, I probably wouldn't even be thinking about boxing. My story is different from these other girls. I didn't have a weight problem. I wasn't interested. I was already fighting, for my life, even leaving in the house, Right. My passions was theater. I wanted to be on a track team. I wanted to go in the Olympics. FloJo was one of my idols. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate everything that I accomplished in boxing and the good people I met on the way,
Right.
But it wasn't, I never had the dream like I want to be a world champion. The closest thing I probably came for boxing was back in the day playing the Mike Tyson Punch Out. And later on, I played that almost every day. And then later on, Layla Ali came out with her book, The Reach. I read that. And I seen was reading her story that inspired me a little bit. But I grew up in a violent household, so I grew up just like thinking like that's the right thing, and I was angry. Haitian people don't believe in counseling or stuff like that. I didn't have nobody to talk to, and at the time when I did have somebody to talk to, when I was saying earlier,
Right.
and I told them, please don't call my parents. They did. So after that, I just stopped talking about what was going on with me.
Yeah.
And boxing, I needed something to
You
just
need an
be like
outlet.
a signal and let out. And that's what led me. And then the longer I stayed in boxing, I was like, I want to compete. I want to, I'm here. This is why I felt safe.
So where?
But I felt,
What?
hmm?
Yeah. What was your first experience with the gloves on?
I mean, it was. I was like I said before, boxing. I was already throwing hands, so boxing just really just corrected it. Hold, keep your hands here. We not out here like this, elbows in, hands here.
Right.
So learning the technique, it was really interesting to me, and I think that's what got my attention.
For sure. So your first experience with the gloves on, who kind of taught you the ins and outs of the sport?
Since I was already upstate at that time, I went to this gym on the north side. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember the coach saying, "I don't believe in female boxing. You could train, but I don't train female fighters to fight. I don't believe in them." So I mean, I didn't really know like what was going on with female boxing. So I was just like, well, whatever. And at that time I was running track. And I know my mom wasn't going to drive me to the gym. So I just finished running track. After I graduated from the high school up there, then I went into college. I went to Mohawk Valley Community College in Utica, New York. And then I was running track there and going to school and working. And I found a boxing gym. And a coach name was Tim. And he gave me a shot. Then I had my first amateur fight.
Wow.
And then after school, I left. I went back down to New York. I went back to Long Island, and I moved to Brooklyn. And, I was always like, right there in between. Then that was it.
One thing
Took it
led to
off.
another, but you had, for all those out there that think, hey, I work, I go to school, I do this, I do that, and I can't box, talk to MelissaSt.Vil. Good luck with that, right? She became a world champion, and no excuses.
No
So
excuses.
no boxing, no
No,
life. No boxing, no life is what the terminology is nowadays. We know Canelo has
yeah,
that
from,
moniker.
from track practice to the gym, make it back to go to work, homework.
It's a lot. So as you're one thing led to another. You're now in New York City. You're boxing. You're at Gleason's gym. Is that correct? Is that kind of where you started and the amateur
Yeah.
career grew from there?
Yeah, my amateur career, I started in Starlight City Boxing Club right there in Pennsylvania, in East New York.
Okay.
Yeah, because right after I got out from college, I was already done with my mother. I was like, look,
Yeah.
peace. I'm going back. So I left. So I was in Starlight City boxing gym, and right after from there, everything just took off.
That's awesome. So what did you learn in the you learned the sport and now you're competing in it? What would you say is something that you really enjoyed about competing as an amateur boxer?
What I enjoyed about it was that the support from my team members and the coach, because that's something I didn't have. When I was in boxing, I felt accepted. The support is what really kept me there. Because like I said, I have a big family, but it ain't. We're not like that.
And it's interesting that you say that, being that boxing's a lonely sport. I mean, you're in the ring by yourself. So everything that happens outside of the ring is vitally important for any fighter's career. And sometimes I think we
But
overlook
even,
that.
but like I said, even before boxing, I was by myself in that house catching licks. I was by myself. My brother was already out the house. My three sisters were already out the house. I was by myself catching it. I was by myself getting molested. I was by myself getting beat up. I was by myself when they was trying to kill me. So stepping in that ring was nothing.
Wow. So you were able to
That's why I
really.
said, that's why I said the support, and the love that I have, from the coach and my team members, because we like family. We train together, we eat together. That's what really kept me, you know?
Yeah, it's so important outside of the ring, like I said, to have that support, like you're honing in on and saying, hey, I'm finally got the support I've always wanted. And at that point, did you say, hey, I'm going to go pro one day? I'm going to become a world champion? Was that the mindset?
I didn't when I came up with that decision to come pro was I fought in the Golden Gloves. I fought a girl named Maria from Sunset Park, and I still have that DVD, and they robbed me. It was clear as day, and I have the DVD. I'll make a copy and send it to you because I'm about receipts. Because I know a lot of people be like, oh, they robbed me, they robbed me. No. I'm going to show you. And
Yeah,
I remember training my butt off. Oh my God, I would be every morning running the Belt Parkway. I trained so hard. And when they rolled her hand, I was hurt.
Yeah.
I was hurt. I couldn't believe it. And I think from that day, I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna turn pro. And even at that time, I didn't even really know the business of boxing, the politics, and all this other stuff. I didn't know. All I knew was, you gotta train hard and you just fight. You just fight. No matter who they put in front of you, you just fight. And in my whole boxing career, for a while, I didn't know the politics and the business of boxing. I was just like, send a contract. Ooh, all right.
You was there to fight.
Away.
You were there to fight, and you weren't scared of anybody, and A and B sides out the window.
Right. I didn't know nothing about that. Like I said, I ran into a lot of bad people in boxing too that did take advantage of me.
Right.
And I didn't know. That's why I said there was some good people that that was nice to me, and then there was a lot of people that led me the wrong way. But even with that, they saw like St.Vil's here to fight.
Yeah, and like you said, there's a lot of boxing's a dirty sport, as we know, literally.
And I didn't know. I came in there just vulnerable, and like I said, I didn't come into the boxing wanting to be a champion or wanting to, be in a position that I am in now. I didn't see none of this coming.
Right.
I just, I was a little girl that walked in the gym that was hurt, lost, confused, and I just needed to go. I needed somebody to vet. I needed to find something just to, get away from the negative energy that was going on around me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I ended up.
It's a true testament to who you are, and you can see the energy it radiates off you, and you've come a long way. You turned pro in 2007, is that correct?
Yes.
So you're talking about a career that spanned 14 years. For someone that just walked in the gym that was essentially broken at the time. And wow, 14 years later, here we are, MelissaSt.Vil, world champion.
Yes.
So as you turn pro, you lost your second fight by split decision. And I was looking back at your record, and I'm saying, wow, you get in and you turn pro, you win, and then your second fight, you lose. And nowadays, this whole O's gotta go mentality, people don't think it happens. It sure does. And now years later, 13-4-4, and two-time world champion, I mean, that goes to show you hit another roadblock and you continue to push forward. Talk to me about your professional career. I see that you've traveled the world.
Yeah, I did. Everything is happening. I think like now, everything started happening to me like later in my career. Even in the beginning, I ran into the wrong people. The first fight with Olivia Fonseca, she was like 150 some pounds, and I was fighting at 130.
So you're a featherweight.
Yeah, and I remember my coach at the time, he's like, hey, put on the weight. I remember going on the scale with all my clothes on, and I remember drinking before I even got on the scale. I remember this giving me water, drink, 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 and Powerade, drink, drink, drink. And I think I only got up to like 138. And I remember the promoter arguing with my coach at the time, saying, the promoter's like, look, I don't want this fight to happen. But if your girl gets hurt, that's in your hands. If she gets hurt, that's in your hands. And that's it. And I remember my trainer at the time, like, my girl is tough. She fight anybody, you know? And I was just like, well, we're going to fight tomorrow.
You're going to fight. Wow. So literally you were essentially a junior welterweight fighting almost a middleweight at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was a draw. And then the fight that I lost, I was Katie Kleinfenter. That fight was that's when Katie, I was training with Roger Mayweather at the time. That was another hot mess right there. I know in other people, I'm not trying to put no shade on him. I know he's gone, but in other people's eyes, he was a good trainer. But to me, he was a dirtbag. I'm sorry. I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah. We all have different interactions with people.
Yeah.
And the truth always comes to light. So it sounds like you had a very difficult time at various points in your career and still have been able to overcome.
Yeah, I had my boxing career was just up and down. Everything started happening later. I met Rafael Vasquez. He got me my first promoter. Louis DeBella. And I had met my manager, Brian Cohen, later. So even in the beginning of my boxing career, it was by myself. I didn't have nobody guiding me. I didn't have nobody looking over my shoulder. Nothing. Like, people took advantage of me. I didn't have that, that guidance like all these girls have. I went in, I jumped, they put me in there with the sharks early.
Yeah.
And I swam.
You sure did. And you've been a trailblazer for women's boxing, which is finally getting the respect. Basically, up until almost 2019, 2020, it wasn't really. Clarissa Shields, obviously, is another trailblazer. Yourself.
Me and Clarissa, we're real close. We call each other cousins and everything. I met Clarissa in Detroit. I think it was 2014, but it was a while ago. This was before the Olympics, and we sparred. And then ever since then, I said I gotta stay in touch with this girl. I see so much in her, and we stayed in touch. Was following her way to the nationals, watching, and she won the Olympics. I was so happy because that's something I want to do, is be an inspiration to young girls and just see them win like she did.
That's awesome. And you competed for your first world title, a 2016 WBC super featherweight title in New Zealand.
Oh, yes.
And that's in someone's backyard. So you fought the opponent in their backyard.
Let me tell you, most of my fights were in people's backyards. Okay, my first Brooklyn fight was when I was signed with DeBella, and thank you to Rafael Vasquez for making that happen. So it felt good. But yes, other than that, all my fights are in everybody's backyard.
Yeah, I also saw it was 2019. You went to Germany and fought again, for the WBC super featherweight title and lightweight title. Excuse me. And, again, you're fighting someone in their backyard.
Yes, and that was another, that fight right there, if you watch it like everybody else did, that was another hurt too, because I beat Eva Wallstrom. Yeah. So, I never, like I said, I found out everything they were boxing. If you go to somebody's hometown, don't matter if you beat the crap out of them, you gotta knock them out if you want to win. Don't matter if you beat them 10 rounds all over that ring. The judges, they got the judges, the promoter, I'm just thinking like a fighter. I'm coming to fight,
Right.
I didn't really think like that. I gotta fight the judges. I gotta fight the ref. I gotta fight the promoter just to get the win.
It's crazy. It really is, and the politics of boxing, unfortunately. But I really commend you. 13, 4, and 4. We're talking to MelissaSt.Vil, a true inspiration and trailblazer in women's boxing and in professional boxing in general. Let's not even classify it that way. You know, you're a professional fighter. Let's talk about you outside of the ring now. Tell me about your interaction as an ambassador for autism. I'd like to hear about that.
Oh yeah, well, Rafael Vasquez, he actually started it. He was a boxer. He's from Brooklyn, New York, and his daughter has autism, but their mother had passed from cancer. So Rafael Vasquez also trains me, and I told him like, you know, why you don't keep the autism awareness going on? You know, just because you retired doesn't mean their fight for autism should stop too, because there's a lot of parents with children with autism. So that's how I got into it. I was like, well, look, you train me, we're gonna do this. You know, we'll get a skirt with the autism pieces, and also, you know, work with his daughter Kayleen. And you know, they're real special people. And even before I had met Rafael Vasquez and his daughter, when I was in Starlight City, Andre from Havoc that trained Denny Jacobs.
Andre Rozier. Yeah.
Yeah, his son has autism, and I never knew, because when I went to the gym, I would just see his son AJ, and he would always give me like this big tight hug. You know, all I saw was a kid with just a big heart, a beautiful smile, and a loving spirit. That's all I saw. I didn't even know. At that time, I didn't even know what autism was. I didn't know what the word was. You know, so it's later on. You know, like I said, I met Rafael Vasquez, his daughter, and I'm like, you know what? We gotta keep this going.
Definitely. So you work with autistic children in New York in the community, is that correct?
Yeah, like I work with Rafael's daughter, and we're gonna be in this gym soon in Jersey called Park Elite, and the owner's son has autism, and I have another partner with he has a thing called Puzzle Life. He has a daughter with autism, and I'm gonna try to put like a program where the kids come to the gym and do something with them, because kids that's on the spectrum, these kids are geniuses. They're really special.
Definitely, and that's a beautiful thing. I really keep me posted on that. I think that's something that really should get a lot of attention. I think that's something that what you're doing, and you're not doing it for the attention per se, but you really are wanting to help others. You've been through a lot, as we've learned today, Melissa.
And you know what it is too? I see a lot of, you know, myself in them too, because a lot of, you know, I felt neglected too coming up, even in the boxing, neglected. You know, like I said, I everything started happening to me like later in my career. You know, and when you look at my box record, you see everything happened later.
Right.
You know, so that these kids, you know, a lot of people, you know, back in the day used to use the R word. I don't even like to use it, but they used to, you know, use the R word with them and ignore them, you know, and that's how I was treated. That's how I was treated. So, you know, I don't want them to feel like that. You know, support is important to me. Letting somebody know, even if they're not on the spectrum, but just letting them know, like, I'm here. I got you. What's up? Let's have a conversation. Let's go take a walk. That's needed.
Yeah, and it's so important. I think it's so awesome what you're doing. I've seen Callum Smith. I know him and his 3 other brothers. Callum Smith just fought Canelo recently, as many know. I believe their youngest, there's 4 brothers, him and Liam. Obviously, Liam's another fighter that fought Canelo, but the sister is autistic. So I know he's a big ambassador for autism as well. And I know the WBC Cares program, you've taken part in that as well for autism.
Oh, yeah, shout out to WBC Cares. They gave me patches.
Yeah, so I saw that.
On the month of autism, the fighters are going to wear that.
That's awesome. Truly a testament to you, Callum Smith, and all those out there bringing awareness to autism. It's truly special. As we wrap up today, we're going to talk about we say the last, the best for last, and that's your trip to Puerto Rico recently. Tell me about that.
Oh my God, Puerto Rico was beautiful. When I went to the La Perla, that felt like Haiti. That felt like home. Because even before I went to go live in Haiti, I was going almost every summer. So, you know, I always had a good time in Haiti. So when I went to the La Perla, I felt right at home. It was beautiful. Then when I went to Albanito, to the mountains,
Yep.
it was beautiful. Then I went to Bayamon.
Bayamon. You said it very good.
Yeah, so the experience was great because I didn't just stay in San Jose. I got to travel and get the Puerto Rican experience. I got to go to the country. I got to go to the hood.
Yeah.
Because, you know what, when I go places, I like to see the tourist part and bring me to the hood, you know?
You got to see it all.
I want to see it all.
I saw it. You were riding a horse, and you also you were Juan Laporte. Obviously, you've trained the former Puerto Rican world champion. Worked with him. I saw you guys.
Yes.
He had the hands up, the mitts, and you were throwing your hands
Yes.
around. That was awesome to see.
Yes. Man, Puerto Rico is beautiful, man. I enjoyed myself. And even with the curfew, I made the best of it. Yeah. I woke up early. We out.
Well, listen, and I wanted to share this with you, Melissa. I know you didn't get to stop by Team La Perla Boxing and MMA, but next time you're there, you know the door is always open for you, and we'll make it happen.
I'm definitely coming. But let them know. I was peeking in the window.
Okay.
I was peeking in the window.
Yeah, pretty cool location, right? You got to let people know. Yeah.
I definitely am. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, man. I love it. I'm definitely coming back to Puerto Rico. I hope I can get a chance to fight in Puerto Rico because I love the people. I love the island. It's beautiful.
I'm so glad you got to experience that and get the full experience. Like you said, beyond just being a tourist, you got to go in the neighborhoods and ride a horse and see the beautiful beaches and see the beautiful La Perla. So in the future, keep me posted on the Autism Awareness and what you're doing moving forward. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on IG Killer, KILLER _Mel, MEL, my Twitter at MelissaSt.Vil, and my YouTube channel, MelissaSt.Vil.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to you and your career. It's pushing forward. I'm sure we'll see you on TV very soon again. That's MelissaSt.Vil, professional boxer by way of Brooklyn, New York. You're an inspiration to many. The door is always open at Team La Perla Boxing and MMA.
Thank you.
All right, Melissa. Thank you so much. Take care.